wanna do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you wanna do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come? Alright, I'll do my own bit for myself. Oh wait, no silence. We're doing it. Get off the road.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. I'm Boater.
I'm Dave, man.
Hey Dave.
Boater, I'm very mad that you haven't recognized my heritage. My long-standing, long-lasting heritage that has nothing to do with anything else. My family was raised on Nintendo, and we live Nintendo, and it has nothing to do with anything else other than the long-standing heritage that is the Wii U, which lasted longer than the Confederacy. So fuck the people that say anything related to that.
Like, where's he going with this? Where's he going with this?
Southern pride.
Got that Wii U pride up in there. Why, that's one of them things that's an attachment for the Wii, right?
You just don't understand my heritage.
Wow. Hi, everybody. If I had a joke, it's long gone now. So hi everybody and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. That's the only positive thing you can say about the Wii U is that it lasted longer than the Confederacy. Yikes, sir. Yikes.
It had its own Zelda game.
You know what? I'm willing to give points to Nintendo's first HD console, even if it was a full generation behind.
This like it's the same idea of you know, it would be like me going into someone else's store, or when someone else is doing something totally non-related, and me going in and being like, well, I have pride in my Wii U. We did lots of good in the community and heritage. You just don't understand.
Oh, wow.
Super proud of NASCAR. Speaking of
Yeah.
pride in one's heritage.
Absolutely.
Once again, NASCAR managing to stand firmly in 2021 and tell those toothless motherfuckers, get out of our venue. We don't need you. You're just going to be drunk in our parking lot. Go be drunk over there.
If you're here for gaming news, we'll get there. But first, there's a week's worth of frustration at the world that we're venting out just a little bit.
Oh, there's so much frustration about one of our news topics that is just seeping into everything else. Something that is not frustrating though is
yes, Dave, I'll let you take point on this. As we said, typically Dave is the one that comes prepared with a lot of topics, and I have like, I want to talk about these two things, and he's like, okay, Boater, pat, we'll make time. So are we talking about the culling again?
No, we are
near and dear to my heart.
We'll talk about the culling next year for St. Jude's Play Live.
We'll talk about the culling after we've had the chance to talk about Death Stranding. Dave, continue.
This week, the wag of the finger goes to Riot Games executive for abhorrent comments that just, you know, if you don't know, you just don't say something.
It's one of those things. So when I first heard about it, it was like, wow, F Riot in general. And it is worth knowing when you find out about these things, whether it was said on behalf of a company or whether it's an individual. And then when it's an individual, what the company that they represent otherwise does about it. So another way that this happened was that someone was like, wow, I guess I can't go to Wendy's anymore or play Feast of Legends, which is the Wendy's RPG that, yes, I play, I DM, because they had heard that Wendy's made huge contributions to Trump's campaign. And it was like, actually, that was a franchisee. So here's the list of their stores. So, like, do the research and don't be outraged. And that goes, I will say, for both sides of the aisle. If a company does something you don't like, see if it's the company or see if it's an individual. Anyway, an individual high up in Riot, Dave, I'm sorry to have derailed for pedantry, to be a pedant about it. But yes, continue on.
No worries. He was the, and of course I have lost the tab, which is fine because it gives
As
me
you
a
look for
chance
it,
to
again,
re-find
everybody,
it.
I don't come with news topics. I just go on tangents about the ones that Dave brings up. So that's our dynamic.
Um, bum ba bum bum bum. While I'm looking for that, there's some good news on the horizon, which is that we, the deserving citizens of the U.S., so sorry, Auntie Klaus, are getting apple pie flavored Kit Kats this summer. Um,
Dave, you know what I really want when Nerd Glasses goes back to uh, the studio?
what's that?
I really want to start doing our what random food stuff did Dave find this week?
I just
Cause
have to.
wow, apple pie Kit Kats. Are you sure you deserve it? Listen, ain't nothing more American than cheap ass candy, except maybe apple pie. And so yes,
And asbestos
also yes,
and
also
ignoring health
asbestos flavored
codes.
apple pie.
What pie? What flavor is it? Pie flavor. I have no greater context for that quote. Just I know that it's someone saying like, "I've made you a pie. What flavor is it? Pie flavor."
It's Asdiff movie. It's one of the many, many skits in Asdiff
Oh.
movie. I would guess around three, but I'm not positive. I made you a pie. Oh boy, what flavor? Pie flavor. And then a little pie pops out of the bigger pie to sick guitar riff.
Oh God. Um, another super fun little caveat of news to throw out. San Diego Comic-Con will be back on. Um, they're calling it Comic-Con at home, and it'll
Okay,
take
okay.
place on the originally scheduled dates, July 22nd through
Okay,
the
cool. So
26th.
they've got their so I've definitely seen some things that are doing really well with that. We're seeing that a lot in the publishing world. Book meetups and conventions and such that were supposed to happen have made a very easy transition to doing stuff at home. There's been like I follow Tor, which is a sci-fi publisher, an imprint of Macmillan, and they've been sharing like every week they've got events going on with authors via that. But then again, like some big events that were going to happen, some big industry things have been doing that, and it's really cool to see that branching out into other industries as well. So again, this being the first big Comic Con to do that, right?
Yeah, it is the first big one that's able to scoop up and recover from COVID's rigors. Yes, Savannah, you can come up. You getting distracted
Savannah,
by the keyboard? Yes? You just want me to pet you? Okay.
were you able to
Um,
find what you were looking for on Riot, or should I look for that
oh,
while you keep
there.
going on
Ow.
about
Okay. Hello.
cat?
Streaming from home. Hello, Savannah. Thank you. I can't wait to have a desk. Can't wait. Um, so, Boater, back to having squinty eyes for a thing.
Yep.
Ron Johnson, which just sounds like a made up name, global
Yeah.
head of consumer products at Riot Games, resigned after saying the murder of George Floyd by police was caused by his criminal lifestyle, directly quoting him. Um, let's see. And it looks like it was, sharing something on social media. Hmm. Well, people.
So there are two warnings that you can take away from here. Number one, be careful what you share on social media because even if you're doing it on private, whatever, it does reflect back on the company and they may not like that. Number two, don't be a racist shitheel.
People will find you.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite sports that's erupted over the past month or so, and that is find the racists, get them fired. There's been a lot
It's
of
a
that
good
going
time.
around. Oh yeah. Um,
Spamming people's employers saying like just flatly showing a picture of the thing that they did and being like, this doesn't seem to be on your company's values.
Yeah, he was placed on leave, and then as of Friday, he was no longer employed. Riot Games said the sentiment expressed in the image in question is abhorrent and runs directly counter to our values and our belief that addressing systemic racism requires immediate societal change, something that we're committed to working towards. They've announced initiatives to give back to the community. Have let's see. According to The Wrap, Riot recently announced an initiative to give back to the community and plans to commit a $1 million donation to justice reform and civil rights organizations. They also pledged to contribute $10 million to underrepresented founders in the games industry. The guy that, went and mouthed off worked for them for less than a year. So,
Mm. Surprise, surprise. This is a video for later, but I realized I should probably link it over to you.
okay.
Um, but speaking of larger companies doing for the good of others and things like that, just remember, folks, if you work for any sized company, or if you are self-employed, what you put out into the universe, especially on the internet, there's consequences.
Yeah.
People see it, and if you put it on the internet, it's there forever.
hmm
It doesn't matter how many firms you pay to bury it or do things like that, people will find it.
Yeah.
Um, but
Find the
on the
racists,
other
get them
side,
figured. Yeah, that would be a good slogan. Anti-Klaus wants to get that on a T-shirt. And Anti-Klaus also points out that Riot has been known in the past for being a toxic workplace. So, like, this came out, and everyone was like, "Oh man, Riot's at it again."
yep.
Yeah.
Although not uncharacteristic of the Riot Blizzard news issues, which we have covered on this program, but in this case, I do tip of the hat to Riot for
They responded quickly and properly. I think they made all the right moves here. So good on them.
yes. And I like the fact that it wasn't look, we fired this guy. It was here is the reasoning for their release so that in the future, not that I think this person should ever get a job anywhere, but that this person isn't just this will follow them,
Yes.
and
Yes, it will.
it'll be like, why were you dismissed from your job? Oh, well, I used my personal social media that said something counterintuitive to the company I worked for, and the company will have to then figure out, can they trust the employee? Does their contract then have
Why did you leave your
you know
previous job? The corporate culture and I clashed on some core values.
I pressed share on Facebook before I read
There's
what I was posting.
there's like there's a lot of ways to spin that. On job applications, you can know how to spin. It's like there was a disagreement with the core values of the company, and I felt that it was best that I leave before there come to any sort of confrontation, blah blah blah, something like that. Oh yes, that makes you look very admirable. Standing up for what you believe in at your company. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, we don't need to background check you.
Yep. And then if that person's social media pops up anywhere, people are going to go, "Oh, where are you working now? Oh, that sounds nice." Um,
Mhm.
Speaking of social media giving way for positivity, a short story that I will brag about, and this is a company that one of my regulars, family and friends, works for. Um, Games Workshop, the retailer. It is a global retailer, so
Yep.
it was started based in Europe. They are doing so well that they are refunding some of the money they were given during COVID. So
Okay.
good on you, Games Workshop,
Nice.
because you're having they're repaying government support.
Okay. That's awesome.
Um, they're going to be it's government subsidies for the company, not for the employees.
Okay.
Um, but good on them for using the momentum that they have now gained by people being able to shop again a little bit more free and things like that,
Yep.
and putting it back, as opposed to taking that now money and putting it in an offshore account or investing it, or
Yeah.
buying their yes, more like rigor mortis, government subsidies. So they are returning it to their governments, but to be totally honest, it's rather than, again, Games Workshop buying, like many other companies have, where all their executive team is now going on a special post-COVID Jimmy Jam sleepaway at this $1 billion
Mhm.
complex.
Yeah.
Um,
Our team building retreat. 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 Yeah.
um,
No, doing cool stuff.
and then each.io's anti-racism bundle.
Yep.
I bought
Yeah,
it
we
because it
we
was
talked about it last week.
yeah, I bought it because it was over 1,500 games and it raised over $5 million so far. Proceeds benefiting the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund and the Act Blue Community Bail Fund.
Yeah.
So
That's been
that's five.
doing really well. That's still for sale, correct? That's still
I
out
believe
there?
so, but let
Not
me see how
positive.
long it has on it. Bundle ended today at 3 o'clock.
Damn. Okay.
Um, but it did raise $8,174,630.62,
That is awesome.
which was awesome. I look greatly forward to digging through the now 1,741 different games that I then got in that bundle, and some of them are good. Some of it's just e-guides for stuff like that. Auntie, you should be very proud of your company because there's a lot of companies that can't then stand up and have that medal to be able to not squirrel away further money.
Yeah.
Trickle down economics doesn't work, folks. Sorry, DEM314 at me if you have a problem with anything I say. Trickle down economics doesn't fucking work. Corporate structure don't like that. More like rigor mortis. I'm not sure which one I'm going to try first because, to be totally honest, every time I open it, I get so overwhelmed with just the ungodly amount of things that
I don't
I'm
know when that's got sent in. Oh
like,
wow. That was really cool that you sent me something like 40 minutes ago and then it decided to pop up on screen right there. God, Skype. Why are you like this? Anyway,
But yeah, really proud of that. I hope anyone that did purchase it dig through it.
mhm.
There are so many good games, and there's so much fun to be had in it. Um, and let's see what to talk about next. Oh, the video I sent you in the link.
Yes,
Um,
I noticed you sent me that. I don't know the context for it. You simply sent it to me.
yes. So
So let's see. Do I have
speaking of
this?
games that you get that you think, boy howdy, this, you spend all year thinking about a game that's going to come out, this and that and the other, and a family member yonder time and ago used to have to buy them for you, and so a Simpsons reference came from this, where Bart really wanted, I think it was like Axe Smasher or something, and Marge went to the store and bought him for Christmas Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
Welcome to Lee Carvalho's Putting Challenge. I am Carvalho. Now choose a club.
And so now
You have chosen
someone has
a 3-wood.
recreated Lee
May
Carvalho's
I
putting
suggest
challenge,
a
and
putter?
you too
3-wood.
can
Now
deal
enter the
with
force of
that.
your swing.
Um,
I suggest
I,
feather touch. You have entered power drive. Now push 7, 8, 7 to swing.
I look greatly forward to to playing that.
Ball is in.
Just a smidge.
Parking lot. Would you like to play again?
I'll drop
You
the
have
link to
selected
it in
no.
chat.
That's amazing. That's fun.
Which then rolls us into, there was another game as released. If you own a Nintendo Switch, there is free software that Nintendo just put out and didn't really talk about. But first of all, you know what that guides me to. Bodo, did you ever get a game like Lee Carvalho's putting challenge? Anyone in chat, did you ever get like a?
No, I never like wanted one game and was disappointed with, some entirely unrelated crap game. When I was growing up, my console that I had, the Intellivision, which remember me holding that up a few weeks ago, we had some things like auto racing and poker and whatever, but those are just games that my dad already had and were
Yeah.
in our library. So never did I get disappointed quite like that.
It in the Simpsons episode, it's very heartwarming that Bart gets this other game, and in very rare for his character, shows a little bit of like humility towards Marge, which was awesome. Um, but Nintendo then yesterday, released
Someday.
a first-party fitness game that is free for everyone to play.
Oh, that's gonna be loud. Hold on. I was like, should I bring up this Lee Carvalho putting challenge link that you sent? No, that's loud and annoying. Go ahead. Oh, nope, that's still got my YouTube up on it. Go ahead.
No worries. It is called Jump Rope Challenge.
Oh,
It
I heard
is
about that, actually.
exactly what it sounds like, but it is literally just you hold the Joy-Cons in your hands and you do the jumping methodology. They did figure out a mechanic. Um, you can bend your knees and arms, and the Joy-Cons will
Okay.
recognize that you are changing your height. So, for example, I'm on the second floor of my apartment, and
Yeah.
I
You
can't do
shouldn't jump.
jumping
You shouldn't.
games.
You shouldn't jump. It's just not polite.
Um, so I will be starting tomorrow morning playing this game just for funsies of it.
Yeah.
And by next week I'll have a little bit of a tale about it. But on your Nintendo Switch, Jump Rope Challenge, I think it is now featured on the store, but it is Nintendo designed. They had extra time and they thought, why not?
Dave, I want to take that and go to one of my topics. A
Please
few
do.
weeks ago, we were talking about backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 5 and how it would be backwards compatible to previous generations, with the caveat
Yes.
that it's not just pop it in and play off the disc. You pop it in, and it says, "Oh, this is Infamous 2. Let me grab that from the online store. Seems that you own this. We'll download it and you can play it." And that requires it to be on the online store. And as an example of why that doesn't always work, I use the game Too Human, a game which was mired in legal troubles, and eventually they had to recover all of the physical copies of it and were not allowed to sell it. Well, I found out over the past couple days that Too Human is in fact backwards compatible on the Xbox One. And the reason for that is that it is on the Microsoft Store. It actually went up there about a year ago as of this Friday. Um, the reason being is that it is up on the store for reasons of backwards compatibility. They have the ability to do so. So, hey, you own this game, you should be able to play it because that is. Microsoft said, let me get the quote that is on from Forbes. Microsoft said, "Players are our priority. With the backward compatibility program, as with all our work at Xbox, we are always listening to gamers' feedback and working to bring the games they want to Xbox. This is just one of the many examples of that philosophy coming to life." Now, that means that they need to have a store entry for it, a way for the console to realize when the disc is popped in. It goes to the store and says, "Oh yeah, we can do that." But they're not allowed to sell the game. That means that Too Human is free. If you own an Xbox 360, and I'm pretty sure also if you own an Xbox One, you can play this game for free. This game that was basically erased from shelves for a while. Um, if you don't bring new games, better make sure people can play the old ones. That's a bit of a burn, Anti-Klaus, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But for now, yes, you can play this game for free. And if you're interested in seeing what this game is, because gameplay-wise, it's not the absolute best. It has issues, but I like the storyline, and it has a lot of good ideas. Do you know what that makes it a good candidate for? That makes it a good candidate for the Citadel,
Hell yeah.
which will be airing immediately after Nerd Glasses podcast, 9 o'clock if you want to call it that. I will be playing Too Human. Anti-Class Prime, I agree, it wasn't a bad game. It has its issues, and I'm happy to talk about that on the Citadel, see what makes this game work, what makes it not work so well, as we always do, as well as having a good time. So stay tuned afterwards for the Citadel, where I will be playing Too Human on the Xbox One. And I know it's going to work because I'm watching the demo go right now so that I don't have to worry about starting up the console later. That was
What
a
an
smooth plug. Thank you. I was proud of it. But
what an
yes,
interesting little loophole
yeah,
that they
it's
have done to put that.
yeah, like I'm not sure exactly how the legal loophole works. I think it's just that they are not allowed to sell it. They are not allowed to make money off of it because of the legal issues with Epic Games. But eventually they're just like, well, we have this code. All right, here, it's free.
I mean, if it's if it's nobody's, why not? Like
And I
there.
could 100. I mean, maybe not 100%. For a better game, maybe. With Two Human, I could see them Microsoft paying something nominal to Epic Games as kind of a, look, we're not going to make any money off of this, just kind of turn the other way. It's fine.
Or they may also have just forgotten about it entirely
Oh,
as
but
well.
their legal team wouldn't have.
Speaking of legal teams not forgetting, Duke Nukem is once again back
Oh
in the
my
zeitgeist.
god! Oh my
Except this
god!
time, it's Gearbox suing 3D Realms' parent company, Apogee Software, for breach of contract because Gearbox is pretty sure that they are free and clear and own in charge of it, except that Apogee and 3D Realms continue to license things such as Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World
That
Tour.
is not how I heard it. What I had heard was that Gearbox put out the 20th anniversary of everything like that
Yes.
with Duke Nukem 3D.
Yeah.
Gearbox released it, and the problem is that something that Apogee had licensed for it, that license didn't carry over in the sale of the IP to Gearbox. So Gearbox has the IP, but not the full rights to previous games.
Yes.
So
And-
Gearbox had a suit brought against it by someone that held some of the rights. I'm not positive
And
about
now-
countersuit to Apogee. Okay.
Yeah, and now Gearbox is now turning around and going, this is more your problem than it is ours.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they are basically
It's
Kamehamehaing
tangled.
the lawsuit
It's-
forward.
It is a tangled lawsuit thing, and it's over Duke Nukem. Now, okay, maybe Duke Nukem was a thing in the 90s, but the last taste that we have of Duke Nukem was Duke Nukem Forever, a game that took nearly 15 years to get to market, and when it
Killed 3
did,
video game companies.
it was garbage. It was garbage.
Duke Nukem the character was a make fun of the current times and the culture in his time.
Yep.
Duke Nukem would not have a place in the pantheon as he did in his talking like he's a real fucking person in his era. So the Duke Nukem IP is nice for nostalgia purposes, but I just don't see the Duke Nukem character surviving into a 2020 game franchise that isn't just look at that 80s icon.
Yeah, like 100%. And the thing is, they tried that with DNF. They tried to kind of take the piss out of him with Duke Nukem Forever, to do it in a not cartoonish way, but to do it in a way that is so over the top that it is obviously a satire. The thing is, even that aside, the game was hot garbage. And probably something that I'm going to be forced to play on the Citadel at some point. I have it. I think I paid double digits for it. I might have paid $12 for it. That's too much. Hold on. How much should I pay for this stupid game? Keep talking.
I have to say, I think I am the only person in the entire world that was not only not mad about Duke Nukem Forever, I kind of liked it. But it also goes along with the fact that when Duke Nukem Forever was originally announced in
2001?
Yeah.
God, I paid $35 for this game!
Yes, you did. I went to my local Babbage's, and I had a pre-order. And so I pre-ordered Duke Nukem Forever and StarCraft Ghost. And look at how both of those turned out. But
Yikes.
young Dave
Yeah,
was super excited to put down my $10 deposit on each game, and I kept the receipts. Babbage's got bought by GameStop, got StarCraft Ghost, which, by the way, if you ever want us to talk about the story of that game, please let us know in chat for future episodes. It's hysterical. And then Duke Nukem
StarCraft
Forever.
Ghost is tragic, man.
It's what happens when big companies forget how legal things work.
Let's see. Will
but,
this be able to show without reflecting too much? I don't know.
So Babbage's bought by GameStop, and then
it's not focusing, but okay.
Then, long story short, 3 companies picked up, dusted off, went out of business, and then the third one finally picked up.
But the third one stood up.
Stood up, blew the dust off of it, and went, "This is actually almost finished. We should just launch this." And so with minimal work,
but
and
not
minimal
before
help,
it getting delayed again. My favorite thing that they did was when they had a release date and they were like, it's no longer getting delayed. This is the release date. And in the background, someone comes by and changes the release date on the standee, and the CEO of Gearbox is just like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
And then it was all downhill from there because then the game actually came out.
What made me kind of happy though was the GameStop employee who was there at the time, not at the time when young Dave first ordered it, contacted because that order had stayed in the system. And they said, we have your pre-order of Duke Nukem Forever. It's over 10 years old at this point. He goes, if you have the original receipt, he goes, I will give you that game for free. So
That's awesome.
I did have the receipt because young Dave was really excited to pre-order these two games he really wanted, and so I put them in a photo album, and I remembered exactly where I put that receipt because I got really disappointed that Ghost didn't come out, and so I went,
I got really disappointed that Ghost didn't come out.
yep. Well, I got one of the two games, and you know
Yeah.
what? For free, it was great.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It was awesome. Young Dave got a little bit satisfied that day, and old Dave got to remember why, when video game companies find something that's buried in a cartouche in
Hermetically
the
sealed vault. Yeah.
below a vault, they shouldn't open up the top of it because then they let out the Ark of the Covenant and all the Nazis melt.
I was with you on not doing that until that last one.
It was a bad game. It was a bad game that I paid absolutely nothing for.
I
and so,
played that
blah.
game for maybe an hour, and then I just never went back to it. I didn't feel that it was a bad game. There was just literally zero for me to say, yes, I want to keep playing that game.
And I know.
And I'm sure because like Insane Games TV has been doing really well. We've been doing a great job with our schedule, everything like that. And as I keep going through and playing games on the Citadel, I'm gonna start scraping some bottom of the barrel to find some games for it. And oh god, Duke Nukem Forever is gonna be one of them. I realize I have a copy right there. There is zero excuse.
Actually, is my copy of Duke Nukem right here?
What system did you originally pre-order it on? Because as long as we're talking games for the
PS2?
Citadel, 2 Human was originally going to be a GameCube game.
Like it was one of the PlayStations.
Okay.
Windows 98. It might have been Windows 98. But I believe it was PlayStation. It might have been a PC game. That's the other reason young Dave might have felt sneaky because he didn't have a computer of his own. So he would have been installing it on the home work computer.
Ooh, tricky.
I know. My family had one computer in the entire house, and my aunt and uncle continued to buy young David Christmas presents that were video computer games for it, like NWO WCW World Tour, and it was. But every time I would open those at Christmas, my dad would just do the sideshow Bob like.
Yeah.
That's why he bought me a PlayStation, to get me to stop touching his stuff.
Yay!
Well,
Stop touching stuff. Well, let's. I'm gonna try a bad Dave style segue here. Hey, as long as we're talking about games that have a somewhat divisive fan base, let's talk Fortnite.
Segue. Ooh, 2 weeks in a row sticking that knife in there, Boater. Jesus.
Let's talk Fortnite, Dave. So I think again I think this was one of your topics, but I'm happy to take it. There prior to this past week, the highest record for the number of concurrent people watching a single game on Twitch was 1.7 million viewers during League of Legends World Championship last year. This past week, Fortnite broke that by 600,000 people, roughly 2.3 million people watching Fortnite on Twitch during the end of season event. There's a caveat there. Dave, did you want to pick up here?
Okay, you can have it.
Okay. There's a caveat. The thing is that there was this big event to end the season, and players would want to see what's going on because the entire season leads up to that event. And so they went to log into Fortnite, and they were told, "Nope, nope, the servers are full. You can't play. You can't play." Fortnite has sometimes had issues with too many people on the servers at once for these events, and it limits the number of people that can play. That said, this particular event was like a obscenely low number of people. They capped it at 12 million people in game, which is much lower than some of the previous events that they've done. And so by capping the amount of people in game, yes, the game did end up going smoothly, but a lot of people were streaming it while they were on Twitch, and it made big numbers for the game on Twitch.
Although it did bigger numbers on YouTube, but what doesn't get big numbers on YouTube?
The numbers, YouTube's numbers are weird. Facebook does it too. Actually, I would be interested in seeing Facebook's numbers because they're still trying to get into the game streaming gig. But yeah, YouTube is a much bigger platform. Their numbers were can't find it. Unfortunately, I can't find it in here. I know that it was in here before. But yeah, bigger on YouTube, we'll just say. Sorry, 6.1 at peak on YouTube. 6.1 million. Again, and that's combine those together, that is 8.4 million people, assuming they weren't watching two different streams side by side,
John.
that wanted to, that wanted to play the game but couldn't because they were kind of locked out with a weird like first come first serve ticket thing. I don't know. I'm predisposed to not like anything Fortnite does, so I'm just like, meh, meh, meh. I don't know about you.
I appreciate that 100% of the wow, Fortnite destroyed Twitch viewing records and things like that. Fortnite wasn't saying anything about that. Like they're the ones that everyone was saying it to, and they were like, "Yep," and it did good numbers on YouTube too. Like we're very excited for the next season. Like
Yeah.
they're not.
That's fair.
It's not-
They didn't take it as a bragging point. I'll admit that. It maybe shows that they should have their stuff together a little more. That hey, all these people wanted to play. Maybe just upgrade your servers, okay? It's probably still one of the biggest. It is one of the biggest games that's out there still. So come on, Epic, it's your
Which-
flagship. Just drop in some money.
6/16/2020. Now everyone but Dan's predictions on Nerd Glasses for how long Fortnite would last have now been we went too far under. Let's see if Dan goes too far over.
Yeah.
What price is right in this?
Yeah, I think we were all kind of. I was thinking it'd be done. I don't know if I thought that Apex would be the nail in the coffin, but when was the last you heard out of Apex?
Because I do have a network friendo who streams it
Okay.
almost exclusively. I hear a lot
That's fair,
about
that's fair.
Apex, but that's because I have an investment in someone who streams it. So
Okay, that's fair.
But outside of that,
It
none.
it hasn't been the Fortnite killer that we wanted, despite don't do the dance, don't do the dance.
Don't do the dance. Do we want to show that?
Maybe at the end.
Stick around before the Citadel
Yeah.
for a closing video that will be just the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully the clip of Dan reacting to that video survived. That was so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's Fortnite. Dave, let's go into the big news from this past week, and that was last Thursday. Actually, so we have the big news. Do you want to hit this now, or do we have any other topics that we want to get first? Question of the week.
I
wanna
will
save that for last?
gladly do a short thing on the question of the week, and I can furlough the FDA approved game till next week.
I don't like that word.
What? Furlough?
Yeah.
Listen here, sir. I would have much rather have been told furloughed than essential worker. You can wear a mask. We're
That's
going
fair.
to give you hand sanitizer. You'll be fine.
That's fair.
You're running a temperature. Oh, stand in the hallway. Oh, containment. Oh, dicks. Don't make this
Question
harder
of
than
the
it
week,
has to be.
then.
So, in the community question of the week on Discord, which I will share a link at some point past this.
Yeah.
I decided to throw one out, which was, the question of the week had kind of lapsed just because there wasn't a lot going on, and so people, there wasn't a lot to build off of. But I asked, and people in chat who aren't a part of my Discord, I want you to take this, and I want you to think about it, and I would like you to answer it before the end of the program. But I said this week, the question I want something from all of you folks. I want you to brag about something you've been doing the last couple of months, and I want it to be extra, not humble. Show off for a minute, strut that stuff, give yourself a moment to bask in that moment. And I said, well, let's hear it. Yes.
May I share what my answer would be?
Sure.
I think last week I mentioned Brunch with Boater. I'm not sure, but this is a program that I've been doing the past month now that airs 10 a.m. every weekday. I'm going to show the intro because it's just 30 seconds because I'm proud of the intro too, which friends helped me put together.
Good morning, Morgan.
Morning, Miss Freeman.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Rise and shine, Stubby. Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
And yeah, so it's been a really fun program to be able to do. It's kept my furloughed ass getting up in the morning and having a regular schedule. There will be news regarding Brunch with Boater actually tomorrow. Go to twitch.tv/BoaterBug. Tomorrow morning during Brunch with Boater, there's news to share. But anyway, that's a thing. Dave, I'll turn it over to you, and then I'll read one off that we've got from chat.
Good. So immediately, within a minute, one of my community posted a picture of SpongeBob going, "I'll have you know, I stubbed my toe and only cried for 20 minutes." Hilarious. I love it.
Yep.
I do. And I said to him, like, come on, like, I kind of prompted, here's some of the things that you should talk about, some of the things you have to be proud about.
It's hard to talk about yourself. Like, a lot of us find it hard to do so, yeah.
Yes. Then he stepped it back and kind of downplayed, and then immediately another member of the community who has some fantastical things going on in his life as well said, I don't really have much of anything to share. So I posted a gif of Laurel and Hardy rolling up their sleeves, and I have written out a bunch of messages for people that I'm going to be sending tonight for everyone that reacted on the Discord of things that I see that they should be proud about, and the fact that they're not proud about them, I'm mad. And now I'm going to put on disappointed dad hat, Dave.
Okay.
So when I posed this question, even Boater at the start of this said, well, I don't really have much of anything to share. And I say to everyone that says, oh, I don't really have anything special going on, bullshit. You folks, you people that tune in to Boaterbug, to DM314, to Insane Games TV, you, first of all, have one very minute thing that you can be at the least very bit proud of, and that is that you support the two of us, and we appreciate that more than I can long-windedly articulate. Minimum. That's not even knowing anything about all of you folks. However, ladies and gentlemen, it's 2020. This year has kicked our asses. It's dragged it around. It's wagged its middle finger in our faces. It has urinated on us, and it's still not done. You, the people watching this right now, need to know, and as I say it on the end of almost all of my stand-up comedy shows, at the end of all of my programs, you are loved. You are important, and you have no idea the impact that you make on your friends, your family, your community, and strangers that you pass on the street with your personality and how you do things. So when someone asks you, how was your 2020? Talk about how you feel. Be honest. Say if it was good, if it was bad, if these things. But don't ever let me catch you talking bad about yourself, because trust me, as someone that worked in performing arts, as someone that worked in education, as someone worked in all these things, if you can't be your number one, ain't nobody else going to be it. You have to stand up for yourself, and you have to know in your heart and in your mind that what you do is not only important, but it matters. And so if someone asks you, what have you been up to? Brag about it. Be proud about absolutely anything you chose to do. Did you wake up today and roll over? There you go. You have tackled the day. You didn't let 2020 hold you down. Did you share a social media post that informed people around you? Boom, you're spreading proper information. Those are just shotgun bullet points that I've just thought of. But seriously, people, you're doing a great job.
Dave, you're
You're
making me
crushing
cry.
it.
Thank you, Dave.
Seriously though, it
No,
hurts me
yeah.
that so many people. I'm the king of self-deprecation.
Yeah.
I have many self-confidence issues and many difficulties with that. And I, from a standpoint of thinking that I am worth less than mud, am telling you that you are wrong. You are important. You are everything. Get that day. Be there. Get those things. Seriously.
I don't think we can top that. We did have a few people that did respond with some things that they thought of. Because yeah, like the first someone says, "Hey, tell me something you've accomplished." And yeah, I mean like if it's during a job interview, then you say, "Oh, well, I did this," and you have that answer ready to go. But if it's just off the bat, it's like, "Oh, no, never." But people sat down and they thought about it and they gave some good answers. In chat, more like rigor mortis says, "I'm learning 4 languages on Duolingo,
Hell yeah.
including High Valyrian from Game of Thrones. I'm at 96 straight days, and I've been writing down field notes about High Valyrian morphological markers. Other languages that she's been learning on Duolingo are French, Dutch, and Norwegian."
Oh, don't let Auntie hear you're learning Dutch.
Too late. Practice partner. What were some of the answers that we got from Discord?
So just over a short list, I was very proud that the first person to turn those answers around was Anti-Klaus Prime, saying he finished Bloodborne yesterday, beating 2 of the 3 last bosses on the first go.
Sorry, Anti just replied about
what did Anti? I want to know.
Spoof German. Spoof German is the word.
Yes. We had a discussion about that on a previous stream about actually I think Claire was the one that brought up the fact that German and Dutch, but
well, it's like a friend of mine speaks Portuguese and it's like, isn't that just really heavily accented Spanish?
No. If you go somewhere where Portuguese is their main language and you speak Spanish,
I would probably die. Yeah, no. I recognize similar root words, but that's about it.
It's actually as close to Spanish as to native English. Like there's similar things, and if you're hand signaling, they'll get what you're asking, but the words are so Auntie talked about beating 2 of the 3 last bosses in Bloodborne. From Software. The game that pushes your face in the dirt and then goes, "You're doing a great job." And he beat him on the first go.
It's like
the final bosses of
you were
that.
almost there. That's a lie.
The crescendo.
That's a lie.
And Auntie has, and I will say this from confidence because I've watched him stream this game, Auntie has taken Bloodborne and made it squeal like a pig so many times.
Wow.
Vladdy93, among many other things, by the way, that Anti-Klaus Prime has been up to. Follow him on Twitch. Vladdy93 talked about being excited about 3D printing, working on a 23-inch Doom guy figurine. And then he's going to fit the electronics into the 3D printed Doom figurine to make it play a simplified version of the Doom theme, which is fantastic. creating something and making it your own. And so he's posted pictures in the Discord of this final product. It's this gold Doom guy. I also have the pleasure of Vladdy having made me a prototype Doom guy, and he sits at my table with me every morning while I'm on Google Classroom conferences going, why? And I look at Doom guy and I think,
another community that I'm on just kind of has a motto of "fuck yeah, make stuff," and that's really cool to see other people doing as well.
My friend Captain Morgan, as she is known on a lot of these programs, but enticingly dead, talked about
Allegedly.
how yes, God, I love that. 2 years she'd been struggling with art, creative block, and now she started doing art again. Tune into DAM 314 for the Weekend Wednesday for one of those streams, by the way. She's also been doing a lot of, she talked about how mental health and things like that have been up and down, but jumping onto streams and things like that, and how the community has really helped her, which is amazing. And then my friends, my family at Geek for All talked about how they just hit their 5-year anniversary of their YouTube channel. They have over 600 videos, and they got a sponsorship from a card company that had just been started up, and they gave them the free set of everything. And they're talking about, getting to review that and things like that. And it's amazing because just the people that I am exposed to on a daily basis through Twitch, through my own Twitch, through Insane Games TV, through Boaterbug, through a lot of these other things, you guys are crushing it. Let me be the first to tell you that out loud, because no one else is going to say anything, because everyone else is going to go, "Oh, masks are tough to wear," or "Oh, washing my hands," or this and that and the other.
Yeah.
Fucking killing it, guys. Way to go. Like...
My other recent accomplishment was replacing the battery in my headset because it would only last for about one stream or so.
Hell yeah, Boater.
The new battery is bigger, but doesn't fit the bracket, so it's just kind of rattling around loose over on this side somewhere. But hey, it works.
Exactly.
You're every week you're like, there's something that you do, even if it doesn't have to be a huge accomplishment. You just say, hey, this is a thing I did, and I was proud of being able to do the thing.
Every day, whether you realize it or not, there is something you have done that no one else can do, and no one else can fill that void of if you weren't there. So keep that, and if you need a reminder of it, twitch.tv/DAM314, you can get directly at me, and I will give you a rah-rah speech.
Okay, Dave, we got a couple more things, and you know what? I'm totally fine. The Citadel is usually 9 o'clock, so I'm totally fine pushing back a little bit. So let's you had a FDA topic, and we put that in our we put that in our title. I do want to cover that because that sounds really cool. You mentioned that. I really want to hear about that. And then we can use 15 minutes to talk about how the PS5 thing went.
Yeah. So Akili Interactive just recently got FDA approval for a video game, to be prescribed by a doctor for as a prescription treatment for children with ADHD.
Okay.
The game itself is I have so many feelings about this, and I have to try to not to it's called Endeavor. I'll share the
If it's something that you really want to go in depth with, I'm fine keeping the in-depth conversation until later, but I at least want to get a little bit of an overview because I'm excited about this. I would love the chance to look into it and be a little more well-researched for next week. I want our viewers to have the chance to look into it.
Yeah.
But
so
my
whole thing about this is it's not the first video game to attempt to address physical health. The FDA did approve a glucose meter in 2010 for the Nintendo DS.
Yep.
It was called Digit, and when you reported your glucose levels and things like that through the apparatus and things like that.
Yep.
You got a mini game called Knock 'em Downs, where you threw your bad the negativity at these things to knock them down to get more stuff, and
Okay.
it was cool. And yeah, I am very happy that technology is advancing and that the field of mental health is becoming more visible. The thing that I will say today is that things like this genuinely terrify me because of the stigmas of getting help outside of the old adage of rub some dirt on it and walk it off.
Yeah.
That is, first of all, one of the stupidest things that anyone has ever said, and especially as it pertains to mental health.
Yeah.
It is not something that you wave your hands and fix. As someone that works in alternate education, it's not something that, just take 6 of these and by tomorrow you'll be focused, or, but so I'm worried that this game, which by all accounts, the looking at it I did today, everything seems well intentioned, well backed up by other doctors who are on the payroll for this game, but they are doctors and they do have licenses. I did research through some of them.
So the test is going to be like, number one, it's FDA approved as a prescription video game. Whatever that ends up meaning. But then the real test is going to be, are independent doctors that aren't on the payroll of Endeavor RX's developers, are they going to actually end up prescribing it? And this is something where, like, this can make some news rounds in the gaming world. It needs to be able to make rounds in the medical world for it to really mean anything on that front. I'm going to play this now. It's just a 30-second teaser that Dave linked.
All right, recruit, suit up.
The teaser itself makes me a little bit worried.
Checking in to make your way into the next world.
Just because it itself the teaser doesn't seem to be
this is telling me nothing about the game.
Yep, it doesn't answer. Morris is hitting my exact concerns on the head. Is it per, like, when surprise for mental health and things like that, but what does the prescription mean? Mm-hmm. Like, what does it what's the expectation by the game? What is the game's goal? What's the aim of it? All that shows me is that, you know what, it looks fun.
Yeah,
it does. It looks like a temple run.
It looks kind of fun. One of the YouTube comments says, it looks like a remastered N64 game. So is it illegal to play the game without a prescription? Ha ha ha. Yeah, there's a lot that didn't answer any questions.
And it doesn't explain what that game is specifically doing because is the goal to help someone with ADHD focus and come back to whatever it is they were doing? Is it supposed to be an energy outlet? Is it supposed to be a grounding device? What is the point of it? And it doesn't, like, that's another question, more like rigor mortis. The target audience is clear, but...
Yeah, well, you say the target audience, and it's like, well, no, because especially with games, with a pill, then it's, we changed the dosage slightly or whatever, but it's like, I don't think someone who's 50 would be prescribed that. Or if they were prescribed it, they would, whatever. Someone who's 5, maybe. I don't know.
The website itself does go a little bit into the whole idea of it. No, not print. I'll link that.
Why did my printer turn on?
But
it's not even plugged in.
Steph, help me link your printer, Boater.
I would find that to be very surprising, considering my computer won't do it.
But it's a lot of, it's talking about the core of the brain that it's trying to engage as it's developing and things like that. But apparently and they use a whole bunch of big jargon words in the mental health field that people like throwing out.
They're using jargon and a lot of buzzwords.
Direct therapeutic activity, adaptive personalized treatment, captivating experience. So the colors change on the screen, and it changes itself based upon how much you play it. Great. Fantastic. I am skeptical, and I look forward to, as this develops, talking about this.
I love the idea, but it's something that a couple of the questions more like Rigor Mortis had is like, what's its replayability? What is its value just as a game? Because if it's not fun to play as a game, then that's just going to be the equivalent of, I feel better, I don't need to take the last 3 days of that blister pack. No, just whatever.
That's the fear, is that this is clearly not to be used as a substitute. It is a supplement for current treatments, for things like that. And I'm very afraid, I'll get into this topic another time, but I'm very afraid that people are going to confuse those two terms or willfully want one over the other.
This is something that I think we should definitely keep an eye on. And I'm happy to, do a bit more research and, quick follow the news kind of closely over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we hear more about it rather than just, oh, it was FDA approved, and then it just kind of quietly disappears.
The other thing that I will say is that because summer programs for classrooms are digital, this could be a great resource.
Mm-hmm.
This could be one of the most helpful things, because guess what, folks? Your kids today, they are psychologically conditioned to like this. They like the screen. They like the engagement. They like the device. But they aren't being trained and psychologically and conditioned to be able to hold a conversation, to be able to keep off of the screens, because people keep handing them to them.
Yeah.
So, which is a whole nother can of worms, but this could be helpful in engaging screen time and changing how screen time, buzzword, is done. And I look greatly forward to, I'm going to try to reach out to them as someone in the education field to try to see what's it all about.
More like Rigor Mortis says that she's shot a message out to a pro video game ADHD advocate that she knows to see what she's thinking. I definitely, I'd love whether they get in touch directly with us or just kind of with you if they have just a couple thoughts, or if it's more in depth. Either way, because at its surface, I think it's a really promising, really cool thing. But I agree that it's worrying and that this is trailblazing and it needs to do it right. Not just from a medical perspective, but from a game perspective as well, to really make an impact. Dave just linked the Discord community there, so if anybody has anything after the stream that they want to share with us, you can go ahead and drop it there too. So, Dave, let's take at least 10 minutes and talk about the PlayStation 5 games reveal that happened this past Thursday. It was pushed back a week, but
it was the PS5 reveal itself.
Yes, and the reveal of the console too. There was, it had been announced. They had showed the controller before, but yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm going to bring up a picture of the PS5 at least to keep on screen while you're talking. But go ahead and start talking, boy.
So, I noticed a lot of you naysayers on the internet. On the internet, we're making fun of the way the PS5 looks. It's to my left, so. And you know what it looks like? It's a taco. And you know what tacos are? Delicious and wonderful. And so the PS5 is going to be best console of the generation.
It's going to be delicious and wonderful?
Yes, it's going to be the best. I sat down and I watched through I watched the entire conference on Thursday. But at the same time, I was at Insane Games because Dan, myself, and Mike were able to get in, brush off some cobwebs, start getting things ready. Oh, look at that delicious taco. It's going to be so good. And I love the fact that there's two different models. a model that has a disk drive and a model that will not have a disk drive. Sony did announce that the two systems are going to be the same. And not to worry if one's going to outperform the other. They're going to have the exact same hardware. On PlayStation, exactly. But the things that did catch my attention were the fact that the PlayStation 4 controller had this big old touchpad.
Yep.
And this big old touchpad got widely ignored after the release. Myself and Vladdy got really excited about this technology, and we were playing with it, and we loved the demo games that came out with it and had this on it. The PS5 controller in and of itself has this sensor all over the controller.
Yep.
In essence, it'll be able to tell if you're gripping the controller really hard, if you're holding it halfway on, halfway off, things like that. I love the duckbill picture. But I'm super excited for the controller. I'm super excited for the fact that the PlayStation 5, they did a short reveal of here's what the system looks like. By the way, here's your PS5.
Yep.
And then they went straight into, you know what? But the console itself, you throw the words PlayStation 5 or Xbox GameCube on it, and people will buy it. They went straight into a tactic that I absolutely love, which was, by the way, Sony supporting it, but here's all the games you can get on it almost at release day.
Yeah.
And there was a list of, in that video, let me pull up exactly how long that was.
There was a lot of games, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, over 25 trailers using the PS5 engine talking about the PS5.
Using the PS5 hardware.
Yes.
And I will say that goes back to, like, I was really impressed with the PS4 reveal. And they didn't show the actual console when they did that, but they showed a ton of games that were coming out for it. There was a lot of really cool stuff, and some of them ended up being great games, whatever. But then you compared that to what Microsoft did, and they were like, it's got Halo, and it's got Madden, and it can do TV. And who remembers TV?
I'm so mind blown over what's coming. I know myself and Auntie were both squeeing super hard when Demon's Souls Remastered is going to be coming to it. I know I'm personally very excited for the very timely announcement that the Spider-Man, the PS4 title, was so successful that it's getting a entirely different game. Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Is that going to be a sequel? Like, obviously it's not going to be with the same character, but is that going to be a sequel to the events from Spider-Man PS4?
They did not confirm or deny whether it would be. However, they did say it was a standalone.
Okay. But that's not necessarily like it could stand alone on its own, but it could still take place after the events of.
Yes.
So
we'll especially because Miles Morales is in the PS4 Spider-Man game.
Yeah, he is.
So it'll be Miles does look older, and I'm really excited for that.
More like Rigor Mortis is pointing out that the artwork looks similar to Into the Spider-Verse, which, between that and the PS4 game, there was a couple years of really good Spider-Man stuff coming out, even independent of MCU Spider-Man.
Yes.
And so I wonder, because again, Miles was in the 2018 Spider-Man game, and so it could either pick up from there, or it could be an Into the Spider-Verse thing, and I suppose we'll see.
The other one, to be totally honest, that really caught my attention of the release was, first of all, Auntie mentioned it in chat, Stray. It's a story about a cat. I'm in.
Nice.
But actually, it's the moment where at the computer I just went, shut up and take my money. And God bless Claire, she got kind of taken off guard, but then I told her what it was, and she also got kind of excited.
Like you do, yep.
Boater, did you see the preview for Returnal?
I did not.
Ooh.
No.
Boater, did you watch the movie Groundhog Day?
I did.
Okay. it takes that core concept of reliving an event over and over and over and over. There was a bad Tom Cruise movie, but I don't want to use that as an example.
Excuse me, Edge of Tomorrow was actually quite good.
You know what? That's fair. I didn't watch it. I just watched the CinemaSins version of it, and but
Update: the head of European business at Sony Interactive Entertainment confirmed that Spider-Man Miles Morales isn't an entirely new game. It is a massive expansion to the Spider-Man game that came out in 2018.
Good.
Okay.
Because that game in and of itself was very good. And so therein, why reinvent the wheel when you reinvented the wheel and you got it right? But Returnal I'm excited about because it is a third-person shooter in the style of Groundhog Day. But instead of it being the misadventures of Bill Murray, the woman looked just like Gwendolyn Christie.
Okay.
And it is a sci-fi adventure where a space explorer is reliving landing on a planet, crashing on the planet, and dying on the planet from something on the planet. And then every time that they come back from being forced and being killed, the planet looks just a little bit more off, in the spirit of like Dead Space and things like that.
Okay.
And that game immediately caught my attention, and I cannot wait to play it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and it's like, my genre. Now, I mean, like the horror aspect, not as much, but yeah.
Tell me, by the way, folks, that does not look like Gwendolyn Christie. Like,
I can see it.
especially later when the helmet's off and the fact that the characters, I mean, she's not actually blonde, but you know, in American cinema or in America exposure, she's blonde.
Yeah.
So, a movie that kills Tom Cruise 100 times can be bad. Fair.
Again, I enjoyed Edge of Tomorrow, but anyway, yeah, that looks awesome.
This one really caught my attention. Ratchet and Clank are going to be back in a game that looks like it's going to take the Ratchet and Clank formula and take a step forward. Project Athia, which is not to be confused with Project Athena, which are both PS5 games. And I'm really interested in that one. And Gran Turismo 7, which, by the way, that looked delicious. That, like, seeing the gloves, the steering wheel, the fact that the sound of the engine, as always, it looks like another good Gran Turismo game.
Past few racing games to come out on PlayStation have been really solid. You know, Drive Club and so forth. Yeah.
Horizon 2 Forbidden West, Resident Evil 8 Village, which, by the way, newsflash, they have announced that RE8, as of this morning, will not be coming to the Xbox One, will not be coming to the PS4, because they are not going to cut the game apart a la Metal Gear Solid 5 to be able to put some of it here, but the real main game is over here. Like, they just said, sorry, you guys got to wait for a good thing.
More like Rigor Mortis pointing out with Returnal, props for the game that has a first-person, I think it's actually going to be a third-person, but still space shooter horror that is female protagonist fronted, not an optional character, not a sidekick, looks like the only character. And yeah, that's a rarity. It's been done before, but it's a rarity. It's
a welcome rarity.
Yeah, and so excited to see that.
I am also very excited for the return of Sackboy in Sackboy: A Big Adventure. For those of you who don't know who Sackboy is, if you've ever played Little Big Planet
with the PS3,
and he's adorable.
He's cute.
You can make your own maps. You can do a lot of things, and this game will be a continuation of that, using all of the features of the PS5 controller for you to be able to interact with the map around you.
So, I mean, those are kind of hit or miss. It's like, hey, look at all the features we got. We're going to have a killer app out the gate that uses them, and then we're going to set it loose for the developers to do the rest, and the developers are going to be like, Now we'll stick with what we know. Thanks.
The thing that I
And we'll
really
see.
liked was all the developers, unlike in the PS4 era, the PS5 era, all the developers seem more on board and made sure to emphasize the difference in control in the games, and I'm really excited for that. Yes, Anti-Class Prime pointing out another game that really did catch my attention, and I'm very much looking forward to all of these. Like, I didn't find myself getting bored um, when they're doing these announcements, considering that it was an hour and 14 minutes. Um, so the PS5 looks like it's going to be a system that if I can somehow beg and plead with Claire, we will be getting on release day. But at the same time, budgets depending and all
Yeah.
that. Um,
A game that wasn't announced during the event but was leaked the day afterward and then formally announced a couple days later was Star Wars Squadrons. We're already at 8:45, and I kind of want to show the trailer for that, but I think we'll wait until next week because, Dave, I also want to discuss the morality of playing as the Galactic Empire in a Star Wars game. Could be a fun topic. But when I say we're out of time, we're already 15 minutes over, and we got to start the Citadel at 9. So, as much as I think next week we can talk some more details about the PS5 itself. We've talked about some of the games that we've enjoyed. The Death Stranding, I mean, wasn't even gonna happen this week, unfortunately.
Death Stranding, I'm very sorry. We just couldn't find time for you. Next week, indefinitely for sure.
Yeah, next week Death Stranding, we're gonna talk Star Wars Squadrons, and again we're gonna have at least a short discussion on the morality of playing as the bad guys. And we'll talk a little bit of specs of PS5 versus Xbox Series X. Hold on, Xbox Series X, maybe not. I thought for some reason it was Xbox Series One X for a while, but they must have dropped one from the title at some point, which is a good idea. Anyway, PS5 versus Xbox Series X. I think we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of those consoles next week too. So to be sure to see discussions like that, be sure to follow right here at twitch.tv/insanegamestv_. If you still have the old Twitch layout, the follow button is up here. If you have the new layout, it is down here. There we go. I can never figure out where I'm pointing on the screen. So be sure to follow there. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever we go live. 7 days a week. We have a ton of programming, including the Citadel, which is coming up right after this, where again I will be playing Two Human, a cyberpunk Norse mythology game that deserved better. Dave, do you have anything to add last minute before we go offline for 60 seconds and I get things switched over?
Remember, folks at home, you are loved. You are important. Black Lives Matter. Fuck Nazis. And yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We hope to see you again next week as we discuss some of these things that we've previewed. And I hope to see you in just a few minutes on the Citadel. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night. Bye!